The book 34 Miracles of Jesus, written by Fr.Kalathil Mathew Msfs. Miracle 20, healing of a blind man at Bethsaida. Mark 8:20-26. Confer also Mark 10:46-52, healing of Bartimaeus at Jericho. Matthew 20:29-34. Luke 18:35-43. In Mark 8:22-26, an unnamed blind man is brought by some people to Jesus. Jesus was asked to lay his hands upon him, and he is healed gradually, and he is told to keep it secret. His coming to sight is gradual and imperfect. He does not follow Jesus. Whereas in Mark 10:46-52, blind man, the beggar Bartimaeus, approaches and actively seeks out Jesus, and he is healed immediately and becomes the disciple on the way. Son of Timacus bar Timacus, a blind beggar. Jericho is a place 15 miles away northeast of Jerusalem and 5 miles west of Jordan River. Thus the journey began in Caesarea Philippi, is reaching its destination in Jerusalem. Luke brings Jesus to Jericho at the end of his ministry. Luke has stated that Jesus' ministry brings sight to the blind in fulfillment of God's promises for these affected ones. Now Luke uses a story of Jesus' mercy toward a blind beggar to conclude his travel narrative and summarizes Jesus' ministry for society's unfortunates. It is only the sight of faith which opens eyes to who Jesus is and to follow him. Jesus heals the blind man at Bethsaida in order to bring down the kingdom of God, to lead us to deep faith and to lead us to a life of humility. Verse 22. They came to Bethsaida. Some people brought a blind man to him and begged him to touch him. When the disciples were thinking of the healing and sight, Jesus teaches the disciples about his death and resurrection, but they are slow in understanding. Verse 23. He took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the village, and when he had put saliva on his eyes and laid his hands on him, he asked him, "Can you see anything?" In order to show his special love for him, Jesus took him outside the village. Then he had saliva on him and laid his hands upon his eyes and asked him, "Can you see?" The use of spittle is for a cure. Verse 24. And the man looked up and said, "I can see people, but they look like trees walking." Man told, "I see people, but they look like trees." Verse 25. Then Jesus laid his hands on his eyes again, and he looked intently, and his sight was restored, and he saw everything clearly. Touched. Matthew notes about the compassion and healing touch. The faith of the person has been essential to the healing. This healing takes place gradually. The truth is revealed gradually, not immediately, which means no one becomes a saint in a day. We must struggle hard to attain a saintly life. Verse 26. Then he sent him away to his home, saying, "Do not even go into the village." Do not enter the village means it is a command not to make public after a miraculous action on Jesus' part. Do not enter your village, but go home. It means that we should not go back to the old way of sinful life, old sinful situation, and do not go to people who lead us to sin. If we go back like this, we will not be able to lead a holy life. Do you discard your old sinful way of life and situation? When the prodigal son was living among pigs, he had lost his sense. When he was out of that situation, he came to senses. He started to think. That was the starting point of his conversion. When we stand a little away from sin for some time and think about our vocation, then the saintly path will be opened for us. We shall not work for our greatness and praise. We shall work and lead a holy life for the glory of God. When Jesus touched the eyes of blind man, he looked first vaguely, then he saw things clearly, and he was healed well. It was a teaching about the discipleship. The disciples too understand slowly the meaning of Jesus' mission. The role of the kingdom of God is revealed to them. Jesus is the healer. He gives healings. We can't do anything without God. Dependence on God is a primary matter of true Christian life. We must be conscious and understand the truth that Jesus has given his mission to the disciples and us. We are to live responsibly according to the vocation given to each one of us. It is then that we can follow and experience Jesus. This is the saintly life expected of us Christians. It is a fact that we have to face many problems, challenges, difficulties, and hindrances in this Christian life. It is not easy to be a true Christian. Helen Keller once told, "It is the worst thing not being able to see, having eyes to see." When we lose our life for Jesus, we gain and save our life in Jesus. Do we still live in the state of the dumb and deaf? We must read the signs of the time. Are we afraid of COVID-19? Is it that some people acted in human way with those affected by the pandemic even after they were tested negative? Some people were not that merciful to the affected ones. We must search for the message of God in these sicknesses. This is a kind of blindness. Healing the blind man, Jesus teaches us about our spiritual blindness. The spiritual blindness has affected many in this present world. This kind of deafness and dumbness has to be removed away from family, community, and society. Spiritual blindness, injustices, and inhumanness must be removed from us, that the sour and tangy areas of our life will turn to sweetness and pleasantness by encountering Jesus.